Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Wednesday, February the 1st. The transfer window is shut. It of course shut at 11 p.m. last night. Arsenal were busy on the final day, bringing in one, sending out two, and a fair few of the younger players as well have moved on loan. So there was lots to talk about, lots to sum up about what has been a pretty dramatic January, a rollercoaster January. And at the end of this video, I'll kind of give my thoughts on the window as a whole and how I view it. And it's really hard to do that. I have to say, I wrote a piece about it that's gone live today on Goal. You'll find it on my social media channels. I've posted the link to it, talking about the window and how I view it. And it's really hard to sum up because... Actually, I'll get to it at the end of the video. Let's first talk about what happened yesterday. Of course, Jorginho arrived. Arsenal signing him from Chelsea for a deal initially worth £10 million, could rise to around £12 million with add-ons in the future. 18-month contract for Jorginho, taking him until 2024. There is an option for Arsenal to extend that by a further year if they so wish. Interesting transfer. Certainly one that has divided opinion. First of all, this is what he had to say. He talked about Arteta. He said he was a big influence because I know he's tried to sign me a few times and it didn't happen due to other reasons, not because of my wishes. So, of course, he had a big influence. I'm very excited for this new challenge and I can't wait to be on the pitch, to be honest. Everything has happened so fast. I was a bit surprised, but I took the opportunity of this amazing challenge. It's an important shirt, an amazing club, a big one, and I'm really excited and happy to be here. Both Mikel and Edu were quoted on the sort of official statement that Arsenal released announcing the signing. Edu said, Jorginho is an established professional with a strong mentality, who brings quality and experience. He's a player who fits our style of play and joins us at a very good moment where he can contribute in a key position to help maintain our momentum. We welcome Jorginho to Arsenal. Mikel said Jorginho is a midfield player with intelligence, deep leadership skills and a huge amount of Premier League and international experience. Jorginho has won in his career, but he still has the hunger and huge willingness to contribute here. So that's what all the key players had to say about Jorginho arriving at Arsenal tomorrow. How do I feel about this signing? That's a difficult one to answer. I feel underwhelmed. I feel a bit, I don't know, meh about it, really. It's a weird one. It kind of sums up Arsenal's window in a whole, and I'll talk about that later. It's a safe signing. It's a sensible signing. It's one. Obviously, they didn't want him as first choice. They couldn't get their first choice. They only had a short time left, so it's like, what can we do? And in the end, they signed a very experienced player who can help them straight away, who knows the Premier League, who knows London, who knows everyone he's going to be coming up against, who can hit the ground running, and like I said, play a really key part immediately, which is a good thing. Surely that's a good thing. So from that side of things, it's a sensible signing. It's one that you can kind of understand them doing. Mikel Arteta is a massive fan of Jorginho, always has been, has tried to sign him before at Manchester City and at Arsenal. So he knows all about him. He likes him. He sees him as a player who can fit into his squad and to his team if needs be. And if Mikel thinks that, then I think we've all got to trust him, because I think he's shown so far that he warrants our trust by the way he's built the side that he has at the moment and the success that they're having. But then it does go against everything that Arsenal really are doing in the transfer market as well. So it does have that sense of panic buy about it, which, he's 31. That's not what Arsenal do in the market nowadays. Mikel said recently he doesn't just want a body. Jorginho does just feel like a body. Edu's always went big in the summer, didn't he? Talking about how aging players can kill you because they've got their contract, they've got nothing really to play for. So on that side of things, it's against what Arsenal do. But then they only spent £10 million on him initially. Could be a little bit more. They've only given him an 18-month contract. So you've avoided that possibility of him becoming this costly millstone around the neck tied down to a long-term contract. So I don't know. It's really tough to describe. Is it exciting one? No, I'm not excited about it at all. And when I first heard that they were going for him, I was like, really? Why? And I can't shake that feeling in the back of my head. It just feels like one that I'm not excited about. I can't, it's not like, I can't wait to get to the Emirates on next time we go to see what Jorginho is going to be like. Because you know what he's going to be like. And it's not that exciting. But then I do think he's going to fit in the style well. He's going to do exactly what Arteta wants. He's a very intelligent player. Arteta's going to love that. He can hit the ground running straight away. I think he'll make Arsenal stronger in the second half of the season. And that is obviously the most important point at the January transfer window. So I can see why they've done it. And I can see why Arteta will be quite happy about it. And importantly, it leaves a lot of money in the bank for the summer when Arsenal are going to really push for their big priority targets again in midfield. So it's a weird one for me, and I feel like a lot of you feel exactly the same way about it. It's one that I can understand, and it looks sensible. It's definitely safe, but it's not really exciting. It's not what we were hoping for, is it? And again, it kind of sums up the entire transfer window with Arsenal. Well, let me know what you guys think about it at the end of the day. How do you feel about Jorginho now being an Arsenal player, wearing the number 20 shirt? Okay, so elsewhere on transfer deadline day, Sambi went. That was a surprise. I didn't start the day thinking Sambi was going to go. I think it's a really good move for him, and I'm really intrigued to see how he gets on. I hope he develops really well under Patrick Vieira over the second half of the season. He needed a loan. There's absolutely no doubt about it. He needed to get out. He needed to start playing. He needed to show if he was good enough to play regularly week in, week out in the Premier League. Because the way how things were going from Arsenal, it wasn't helping anyone. It wasn't helping him. He wasn't developing. He was not playing. When he did play, he was coming in from the cold. And it wasn't helping. He needs regular game time to really start to develop as a young central midfielder. So on that, it's a great move for him, and I'm really intrigued to see how it goes. It does, of course, leave Arsenal a little bit short when it comes to numbers. But then, having said that, Sambi hasn't played in the Premier League since the win against Spurs on October the 1st. He's barely featured at all. I think I did the numbers. Sambi in the Premier League this season has played 196 minutes. And when you think that Elneny's been injured for most of that, Partey's been injured at times, yet he's still only played 196 minutes. That says a lot about where Sambi's is right now and how much Arteta trusts him. So I don't think his departure really makes Arsenal weaker in terms of their squad, because he wasn't even playing when Arsenal had injuries, so I don't think he was going to play anyway, especially now Jorginho's arrived. So I'm looking forward to how it goes, and I hope he does well. He seems excited. You saw his comments on the Crystal Palace website. I mean, he'll be desperate to go out and play now because he's had a frustrating time at Arsenal. It's not really worked for him yet. That's not to say it won't, and this is a good opportunity for him to go out now and show that he can do it in the Premier League if he does get a regular run of games. Interesting to see where Patrick Vieira plays him. I'm really intrigued by that as well, what sort of position he feels is best for him in the Crystal Palace midfield. So that one, Cedric, that was finally done late. I think it was about 12:30 when that was finally announced. It's been ongoing for the whole month, just waiting for Fulham to basically turn one of their loan deals into a permanent move. They did that with Shane Duffy, and that allowed them to then sign Cedric on a loan until the end of the season. Both him and Sambi are straight loans. They don't include purchase options at the end of it. And for Cedric, it's a similar situation to Sambi. He wasn't going to play. He's barely played. I mean, he's played 28 minutes in the Premier League this season. So you got, between the pair of them, they've both played about 230 minutes throughout the entire season so far in the Premier League. So that says exactly how far down the pecking order they are. Of course, you've got Ben White playing really well at right back. You've got Tomiyasu there as well. So Arsenal just don't really feel like they need Cedric Suarez, and he has gone out on loan. I don't think, again, that weakens the squad too drastically. Like I said, Arsenal have cover at right back. So I don't think it really makes too much of an issue with Cedric going. Fulham are paying his wages, which are pretty high for the remainder of the season, so Arsenal save on that money. And then I'm sure probably in the summer, this will be the summer that Cedric does move on permanently. Whether it to be Fulham, we'll have to wait and see if he plays well. Then I don't see why not, especially if they stay up, which it looks like they are certain to do after what's been a very good start to the season for them in West London. Elsewhere, a few players went out. Like I said, a few of the youngsters, people like Taylor Hart went, Tyler Foran went, Butler Adeji went, a couple others went as well. They've all gone out. Arsenal got so many players out on loan. I think it's something like about 30 players out on loan this season. Kind of like what Chelsea used to do. When you think Arsenal barely used the loan system not so long ago, they've really changed that, and I think it's a good thing as well. When you look at what's happened with Balogun this season, it can certainly be massively beneficial. Okay, so let's talk about the transfer window as a whole now, shall we? What are my views on it? Well, as I said, I kind of feel like Jorginho sums up Arsenal's transfer window. Safe, sensible, but not spectacular. Not what they really wanted at the start of it. When you look at it, again, it's a really difficult one. I can't really criticise, because when you start the transfer window, you want to strengthen your squad. You want to be in a better position at the end of the window than you were at the start of it, especially where Arsenal were, given their top of the Premier League. And they've ended the window with 3 players in, 2 of them absolutely Premier League proven, in positions they really needed to strengthen. They needed a winger, they needed another attacking option. They brought in Trossard, who I think is a fantastic addition. He can play across the front line, so he provides cover on the right, on the left, in the central areas, and he's ready, and we've already seen he can hit the ground running. He's been playing really well in his fleeting appearances he's already had for Arsenal. So you can't criticise that signing. It's a really good signing. But it wasn't Mudryk. He wasn't first choice. You had the spectacular option, or the potentially spectacular option, the kind of project option that Arsenal were about really in the transfer window, and they didn't get it done. And so they went to the safer, more sensible option in Trossard. Kivior is a bit of an unknown quantity. We just don't know really what he's going to be like. People that I've spoken to in Italy say he's very, very good. His rise in the last couple of years has been pretty dramatic. There's lots of big clubs in Italy interested in him. Very cultured, apparently, with his passing ability. He's decent. He can bring the ball out. He can progress the ball forward. So he feels like an Arteta player. Most importantly, he's a left-sided centre-back. He's cover for Gabriel, which Arsenal didn't have. That was a key area in the squad that needed addressing. They've done it. They've addressed it. Whether he turns out to be a good signing, we don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how that goes, because very few of us know anything about him. So he's more of the unknown quantity. And then, of course, Jorginho. Again, safe, sensible, knows the Premier League, can definitely makes Arsenal stronger, makes the squad stronger, which has to be a good thing. But he wasn't first choice. He wasn't the project signing, the spectacular signing, the Moises Caicedo signing. He was sort of second best signing. He was, we couldn't get our first choice. Where are we going to go now? Oh, let's get him from a player that we know all about. Not exciting, but makes Arsenal stronger. And I just think that is all I can say about the transfer window, is exactly that. Was it exciting? Are the signings exciting? No, not particularly. Do they make Arsenal stronger and better equipped to win the Premier League this season? Yes, absolutely. So, and you can't. So, how do you really criticise that? In a way, I think it feels like a transfer window of missed opportunities almost. Arsenal had huge amounts of money to spend. Clearly, they tried to do some record-breaking moves and they didn't get them over the line. So there's missed opportunities there. But they didn't just lick their wounds and do nothing. They've learnt their lessons clearly from what happened last January and think, okay, we couldn't get them done. Let's just wait and not do it and hope the squad gets us through. They turned to the other options, sensible options, the smart options, and they got them over the line and they strengthened the squad. They gave Arteta better options to go on and try and win the title this season. So on one hand, you can criticise for the failure of missing out, but on the other hand, you say, well, at least you got something done and you've given yourself a much better squad, a more improved squad, a more balanced squad, and you've got more of a chance to cope with the demands that are going to come over the second half of the season. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think also everyone's kind of looking at Chelsea and the money they spent, which I think is ridiculous, by the way, and it is just dreadful for the transfer market and for football. I'm sure Chelsea fans will see that and be like, oh, cry more, blah, 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 whatever it is you say on social media. But you can't look at those. I've seen people saying they won the transfer window. I don't see how you can say what Chelsea have done in the transfer market has won the transfer window. All it has done is massively inflated the transfer window to such ridiculous levels that I don't even know how you're going to come back from it in the summer. But, you know, what can you do? They've certainly signed some good players, so fair play to them for that. But I don't know how people are lauding Todd Boehly for getting Enzo Fernandez done. It's like, you should be lauded Benfica for what they've managed to do in terms of signing a player not long ago at all for about 10 million or whatever it was, and then selling him for 120 million. They're the people you should be congratulating and celebrating for doing good business and working miracles, not someone who's just basically come in, paid way over the odds for a player who, in terms of his transfer value, and got it done. That's not for me. That's not something to congratulate. But again, that's only me, and I'm sure plenty of Arsenal fans, plenty of you out there watching it, would have loved to have seen Stan Kroenke go and do that. And that's the way football works. Obviously, everyone has different opinions. So that's it from me. That's the end of the window. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's been dramatic. You've had the Mudryk saga, you've had the Caicedo saga, you've had players posting on social media all over the shop trying to get moves. Ultimately, neither of them arrived at Arsenal. They couldn't get it done. They've brought in some other players who certainly improve the squad, but don't quite generate the headlines and sort of give you that warm, excited buzz that perhaps the first choice would have done. So, a safe transfer window, a sensible transfer window, a transfer window that made Arsenal stronger, but not a spectacular one. Not one that took your breath away and thought, wow, they really, really mean business here. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I know it's clearly going to be a divisive subject and there's going to be lots of divided opinions on it. So hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think of Arsenal's transfer window. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you for watching all the videos throughout January. Not really anything to talk about now, is there? Apart from football. let's see if we can just manage to focus on that for the next few months. And of course, there is huge amounts for Arsenal to play for as we head towards May and the crunch time of the season. Have a fantastic day, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.